Snow. I love it. I've heard, and you probably have too, that Eskimo has 100 words for snow, or 200, or 400. To find out, I've come here to Greenland. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm still in the same place, but we got some snow here, so. The first thing we need to get out of the way is that Eskimo is not a language. It's a language family. Two, really, the Yupik and the Inuit, that stretch all across the Arctic, all the way from Siberia to Greenland. Another thing is that this idea of a word is pretty meaningless. We think of a word as groups of letters separated by spaces, but linguistically, that doesn't really mean anything. English is a pretty isolating language. This means that despite all of our prefixes and suffixes and compound words, in general, we make a sentence by just putting a bunch of one or two morpheme words in a very specific order. The morphology of the Yupik and Inuit languages is fairly different since they are polysynthetic. This means that they form words by fusing together a bunch of different inflections and stems. This is why I find it so silly when English speakers say stuff like, "Oh, snow must be so important to the Eskimos. They have a way of saying the first snow of winter." You do too. It's the first snow of winter. We just like to put spaces in there. Really, the Inuit languages have infinite words for snow, almost all with no usage, just like they do for everything else. Since a characteristic of a language being polysynthetic is that you can make a whole bunch of different phrases and they're still technically one word. Even the pretty isolating English has plenty of inflections for snow, like snowflake, snowball, snowdrift, snows, snowing, snowed, snowy, snowier, and way more. But even if we're just talking about having a bunch of root words for snow, English still has plenty of those, like snow, sleet, slush, avalanche, blizzard, hardpack, crust, and so many more. English may actually have more root words for snow than some Inuit languages. So, where did this myth come from? Let's start here. This amazing book is The Power of Babel by John McWhorter, an excellent chronicle of the evolution of language. At one point, he brings up German words like gemütlich, which can be translated into English as comfortable, but loses all the connotations associated of being with good friends with it in the process. McWhorter has in the footnotes, many readers will at this point be thinking about Eskimos and their words for snow. One just wants such a neat idea to be true, but sorry folks, let me do my part here to dispel this myth. The idea that Eskimos have a plethora of words for snow is a mistake, perpetuated by increasingly distorted generations of citations in the past century. The original source that this misconception stems from cites only 4 words for snow. He then recommends us to check out this book, Geoffrey K. Pullum's The Great Eskimo Vocabulary Hoax, and other irreverent essays on the study of language. A bit of a mouthful in my opinion. Great book though, you should check it out. In this, he tells us the original source for this myth is Franz Boas's introduction to the Handbook of North American Indians, which mentions 4 different roots for snow, that being Aput for snow on the ground, Gana for falling snow, Pixtjepuk for drifting snow, and Kimiksuk for a snowdrift. That's it. 4 root words for snow. And we've already seen that English itself has plenty of different root words for snow. How does this unassuming introduction set off this crazy myth? Well, next we need to check out Benjamin Lee Whorf, a linguist you may have heard from things like the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, coining terms like allophone, and deciphering Mayan hieroglyphics. Pretty accomplished guy, but we'll see he was also a bit of a doofus. After reading what Boas wrote, Whorf took to Technology Review, a magazine for MIT, and wrote, "Our word snow would seem too inclusive to an Eskimo. We have the same word for falling snow, snow on the ground, snow packed hard like ice, slushy snow, wind-driven flying snow, whatever the situation may be. To an Eskimo, this all-inclusive word would be almost unthinkable. he would say that falling snow, slushy snow, and so on are sensuously and operationally different things to contend with. He uses different words for them and other kinds of snow. Pullum does an excellent job pointing out the many flaws of this argument. For one, he has taken Boaz's number of 4 words and bumped it up to 7 without any evidence. Secondly, he has claimed that in English we only have 1 word for all these different types of snow, but we don't. We wouldn't call it slushy snow, we would call it slush. And the most egregious thing here is his confident assertions about what is sensuously and operationally different for Eskimos, something he knows nothing about. It's all quite related to the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, which I'm sure will get its own video on my channel in the future, that he helped develop about the relationship between the structure of language that we use and our perception of the world. Not only is he lying about how many Inuit words of snow there are, he is also saying that because they have many words for snow, remember, they don't, they surely must think all these different types of snow are entirely different things. He's saying all of this with no basis whatsoever. Countless people then took Whorf's article and ran with it, inflating the number as they went. And then people took their word for it and spread it, and people took their word for it and spread it, and so on and so forth, spreading misinformation without ever actually checking the original source or actually talking to any Inuit or Yupik people. Of course, one could even say that is what I'm doing right now, since I didn't actually go to Greenland for this video, and have just been quoting other people's books at you. But, as I've said before, I'm not a real linguist. Heck, I'm not even a real YouTuber. I do hope that you can leave this video feeling a bit more entertained, a bit more informed, and a bit more skeptical. I also hope you like and subscribe to prove it. Have a nice day.